What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about balancing a little bit because, as you might or might not know, in a couple days, exactly maybe Thursday or Friday, we should be getting some balance patch notes. So I want to go through some monsters, what needs a nerf, what needs a buff, add some more stuff to it maybe, and yeah, let's just jump into it, man. So first of all, we're gonna talk about nerfs, because I feel like nerfs, there's less stuff to talk about generally, because there's a lot more units that actually need a buff to be usable in any content pretty much. Mostly RTA. When I talk about units here, it's mostly going to be RTA related, but I might add in some siege stuff as well or something like that. Maybe farming as well, because we got new dungeons and yeah. Fire units. Well, fire units, there's a couple I feel like that are a little bit too crazy. Juno is still a little bit too crazy. You guys remember the patch where they nerfed the oracles and then they actually ended up buffing them. I think Praha ended up with a buff. I think Juno ended up with a crazy buff. Sierra ended up with a small nerf. But yeah, it was mostly for the LD ones because they didn't give them anything, so they just kept they kept them the way they are with just a nerf. I'm not really sure why Comtos decided to buff Juno when they did the skill 1 nerfs, but they did. And now, as you guys know, recently they made the Despair change with the Reloaded update, and Juno got buffed again, obviously, because now she can't miss a stun if she glances you, if you're built on Despair. So I feel like Juno needs something when it comes to this speed buff. She either needs to lose it or add some kind of a cooldown to it, because it's pretty stupid that she has no cooldown on a 2-turn speed buff on a unit that self-cleanses everything and heals. The thing is, before you could kinda counter her with slow, but now you can't really counter her with slow. So Juno became more and more uncounterable. So I definitely think Juno needs some kind of a touch. I don't know what they'll do. They're probably not gonna do anything about her, but yeah, we'll see. I see a lot of people. Listen, Douglas is still stupid. I know his win rate might not be the greatest, but that's mostly because he's being forced into all kinds of stuff by people. But Douglas is broken still, okay? We're gonna be talking about him forever, because it is broken for you to pick a unit and in a certain scenario it's 100% win rate, right? Sometimes you're gonna pick him and you just know you've won the game, you know, and I don't think a counter pick should be unbeatable, you know. A counter pick should be good against whatever your opponent picked, but a lot of times you can just pick him and he's unbeatable, you know. So I don't know. I never have problems with Douglas personally. Never. I almost never even face him, but I still think he's a little bit unfair, you know, a little bit unfair. What else is there? I think Masha is a little bit overtuned. But other than that, fire, I think it's pretty okay. I think it's pretty okay. Water. Zabala got a buff recently on skill 2. Not needed. They could maybe revert that. The main unit, Shizuka. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing much to say. She needs a nerf. I think revert this to be a 1-turn buff. I think because like before, back when they released her, she had a 1-turn buff, I think. So if they just bring it out to 1 turn, it's gonna be better. And it should definitely drop to 1 turn. They already nerfed this. I think there's no point nerfing it. I don't think that's gonna be enough if they touch this. But yeah, 1 turn. Some people said like make this RNG, like make the debuffs RNG. Give it like a 80% chance or something per debuff. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's just gonna be easier if you make this 1 turn. But yeah, Shizuka, probably the main unit that needs a nerf. Out of all elemental Nat 5s, maybe even out of all Nat 5s in general. Water Ryu, I still think he needs a little touch. 1 turn cooldown on this. Josephine, 1 turn cooldown on this. She kept getting buffed for no reason. Yeah, I don't know what Comptos is doing with this unit. But definitely needs more cooldown on this. Because she does feel like she has no cooldown most of the time. And it's pretty broken. Abilio, I also think it's pretty stupid that he has no cooldown. Maybe give him a small cooldown on this. And water, that's kind of it, honestly. That is kind of it. I don't think Miles or is like that crazy. He's pretty good, but I don't think he's on the level of these. Wind. I don't think Oliver's getting touched. Like, I feel like they let go on Oliver. And what they're doing is they're just gonna try to make more units that Oliver is bad against. And that's their way of nerfing Oliver, which is such a stupid way to do it. But yeah, I guess Comptos just decided to do it that way. And there's nothing we can do about it. So I don't think Oliver is gonna get a punch. I would rather have Oliver with no speed lead and revert all the skills the way they were. But I've already talked about this a million times, how he should have been, and Comptos decided to not do the right thing. So yeah, I don't think Oliver's getting touched. Chongpong as well. Reduce it to 50. I guess like they have to do something, but they also, like, I also talked about some of these turn 2 units. Obviously, if you're nerfing those units, you're nerfing Chongpong as well. They have to get nerfed at the same time, you know, for units to be balanced. If you don't nerf them at the same time, there's always going to be one overpowering the other, and that's pretty dumb, right? I mean, I'm not even going to talk about Leo. You guys know my stance on Leo. And yeah, that's kind of it. Honestly, there's not too much to nerf. Like, we've been getting less and less things that actually need nerfing, and more stuff that just isn't usable. You know, which brings us to this point that there's so much units that are not pickable, and there's so little units that you can actually pick. So it becomes such a stale meta. It becomes such a one kind of comp RTA. You know, like everyone's drafting the same thing. You're always seeing the exact same units, a couple of them, rarely any different variations. Yeah. Light dark. I mean, Veronica, of course. Where is she? Veronica, of course. There's been a lot of talk about Veronica. Some people are saying make it 1 turn, cooldown increase. It could be. Some people said like 2 turn on the unit you target, 1 turn the rest. Probably needs some kind of a bonus touch. Yeah. Probably needs a bonus touch. I know she already got nerfed, but I don't think the nerf she got was that big, like the skill 2 one. It's still pretty insane skill. But yeah, a little touch on Veronica, I would say. Tianlang, I don't know, like, this is one of the units that we just talk about so much, how he's one of the best units in the game, but I don't know. How do you even nerf him? I don't think they will, honestly, I don't think he's gonna ever get touched though. I'm just saying that potentially it could be a unit that they touch, but I don't think he's getting touched. Yan Hong as well, not getting touched. Volantis, I hate the RNG factor. Volantis could lose one of his things, right? He could lose something. He could lose the provoke potentially on this. I don't think he will though, because Comtuos likes to keep the same thing on all units because they all have provoke, I'm pretty sure, except this one. No, he does. All of them provoke. Never mind. They all provoke. So yeah, I don't think Comtuos likes to change the same thing in different skills. They always keep it the same. So maybe they're gonna remove the provoke if they do something to him, but I think there's more chance for this to become lower even, or maybe this to completely get deleted, the bar thing, and then you have to kind of, you know, not rely on just, hey, I'm cutting you even though I'm not faster. You're gonna have to rely more on your rune quality to actually move in front of your opponent. But maybe they lower the chance here. They already tried it once from 50 to 40. I don't think that did anything pretty much to Volantis, but we'll see. We'll see. And aside from that, that's kind of it for light. I don't think there's that much more to talk about. It's mostly Veronica, Volantis, and Tianlang. Those are the best ones. And then dark, we have Ragdoll, obviously, as the main one, pretty much. And there's honestly not too much else. There's Jackson. That's like on that kind of a level. And then you have some really good ones. But are they too good? Are they on a Ragdoll Jackson level? Not really. Not really. Ongyuki got nerfed. That was a little bit of a too much of a touch, I would say, but hey, who am I to who am I to say what's right? Comtuos knows best, right? And that's kind of it. Ragdoll Jackson. As I said before, there's way more things that actually need a buff than they need a nerf. And now we're gonna talk a little bit about buffs, but I'm not gonna go too crazy into it because this is gonna be like a 1 hour, 2 hour long video. I'm just gonna go through some that really need it fast, right? Now, number one, Indras, I don't think they will buff them in this patch, but come to us, please, okay? I know they don't do that and that often, but please do, okay? I wanna see more Indra action. They look cool. They have very nice aggressive kits. I wanna see a quick buff, right? Damage, this one, pure damage, everything damage, damage, damage. I wanna see the multipliers go crazy, right? That's his whole persona. Damage. This guy, pretty good, actually. This one is the most balanced one. But if they decide to give him a small buff, something very small, multiplier, right? More damage. His damage is based on defense, give him a little bit more damage. That's the perfect buff for him as well. This guy, damage. Like, these buffs are really simple. Damage. Just get their damage to a higher point and test it. Test it, please. Just test it. It's simple. It's so simple to test, like, damage to see if a unit is balanced or not. This guy's supposed to be like Miles though. It's a little bit different than this guy. This guy's kind of like Miles. This is supposed to do damage based on speed, just like Miles is. But the problem is this guy does not ignore defense, where Miles does. So this guy's bonus does nothing. You know, like, if it doesn't ignore defense, there's no point in it. So maybe they could make this guy kind of like similar to Miles damage. It would be cool, you know? And then these, damage. It's just damage, honestly. I think they're pretty cool units. They just all need a better multiplier. This guy though, this guy's pretty cool. Okay, this guy's probably the best one out of all of them. But again, just give him a little bit more damage and it's gonna be fine. I think they're really high potential fun units. Next, Ezio's. We still have not seen Ezio's, and these guys as well. Cassandra's are pretty cool. Cassandra's are pretty cool. Okay, they're on a level where they are cool. Maybe small buffs again, but for now they're good. Ezio's though, the Bayeks. This as well. No. This thing. I know these are 4 stars, but this one maybe needs a little bit of a buff. This one as well, I'm not sure. This one's kind of cool though. Buff them in some way, you know, make them usable. We still haven't seen Bayeks, Ezio's, no one uses them. They're bad, no one uses them. Please change them. Give them better awakenings. Why do units awaken into, what is the awaken? Resistance? Accuracy. Which one's awaken into resistance? I forgot. This guy awakens into resistance. Why? Oh yeah, right. The battle angels. I think Sonya awakens into, no. Which one awakens into resistance? I'm crazy. Did they change that? Or am I crazy? I think it was Ezio. Maybe I saw it on the light one, and then I just. But yes, please buff the Ezios. And then just find some random units that are not good enough and buff them as well, right? It's mostly going to be LDs, if we're being honest. It's mostly going to be LDs that kind of need that little buff, and new units, right? The cookies as well. Yeah. Cookies are pretty shit. Right, this one no one uses, this one no one uses. Manon kinda... Manon is being used. I can't say she's not. Not as much as when they buffed her. But this one no one uses, this one barely being used. But I think she's pretty cool. I think this one is cool though. This one no one uses. I also think this one is cool. This one is pretty shit. And then it's mostly LDs. It's mostly LDs. The other units that could be buffed from the normal elements. Yeah, they could buff Kashmir a bit. There's a lot of siege ones as well where you can't really buff them even. A normal element. Maybe it's some Teor speed. Maybe buff the speed on the chimeras a little bit. Like 5 speed bonus, 6. These guys are kind of okay. Light dark. Light dark. I think this is what needs buffs the most. This guy. Some small buff probably. Jaeger. Some small buff probably. Arda. Some buff as well. Shazam, some buff as well. The Gong, some buff as well. Hanwell, like, I don't know what to say about units that are limited to a certain content, right? It's hard to buff units when Comtos limits them to be for certain content, you know? Like he's made for arena offense, guild war offense, siege offense. Tough to buff a unit to be RTA related. Dorothy, some kind of a buff. This thing, I fought her before, she's pretty cool, so I can't really say much. I haven't fought her enough to know how good or bad she is. This guy's some kind of a buff. Cookies, as I said, some kind of a buff. Ezio, this thing, as well. Dark ones. Change her to attack type already. I know they balanced out the stats a little bit. Just change her to attack type. Don't be weird, come to us. Just do it, man. Again, Grogan, limited to a certain content. How do you buff it? I don't know. This thing, speed, a little bit more speed, 5-6 speed. Cadiz, some kind of a buff as well. Fermion, I have no idea. What do you give him? What do you give a Fermion to not make him too OP? Make him like a Chroma? It's gonna be too OP. This guy, give him more speed or something. Why not? Lydia. I have nothing to say. I have no idea. It's weird. It's a weird unit. They would probably have to completely rework the passive Do something different. I don't like the passive. Banana, maybe add something more to the passive. It's pretty close to being good. The Bay. Add 2 turn Oblivion to this. Yeah, why not? Why not? Why not just revive some units? I kind of like Alexandra. I kind of like Ziana. Maybe a small little juicer. This guy, I kind of like him as well. Maybe a small little juicer, something. Dooman, skill 1. Just give something skill 1. Maybe. Maybe something on the skill 1. Maybe something on this. Irresistible, maybe. Potentially. This guy needs something as well. And this guy. Horrible. Horrible. I would just delete this passive and give him a new one. If I'm being honest. And then this guy we said damage. He's pretty cool though, just a little bit damage. Kind of a buff. And that's it. Yeah. Also what I want to see in the balance patch, which we didn't see in the last one, awakening changes. I know I already talked about it. The Chimera is giving him a little bit more speed, but awakening changes, a big row of awakening changes, you know. Last one we had none. Like I scrolled down the patch and I scrolled until the end and there's nothing. Nothing was there. So I don't know what made Comptos think we don't need awakening changes and leader skill changes. But I really hope this one we see a good amount of those, because those can usually change the game by a lot. Those can really change the game by a lot. Those revive units. Those also nerf units really well. So I really hope Comptos does it this time. But yeah. Let me know what you guys think. What needs a buff? What needs a nerf? Give me some, give some ideas, you know? Give some ideas about exactly what you want to see on a certain unit, right? I know there's going to be a lot of biased comments about, you know, people who have their LD, they want it buffed. It doesn't matter. Let me know. It might be a good idea. I know I haven't went too deep into what exactly a unit needs, some of the units need. If I did, as I said, it would be a 2-hour long video if I talked exactly in depth about every unit. So I decided to just say if something needs a buff, if I have an idea, I gave it. But yeah. Again, let me know what you guys think. Leave a like, sub to the channel if you haven't. As always, stay safe, take care. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one, everyone. Peace out.